resource sheets with information about crisis lines and other sources of support you can use. And then also Gateway Mountain Center is opening their teen center every afternoon for anybody that wants to drop by, any people that want to drop by. We are doing a phenomenal job at caring for each other, but it's so critical. It's how we're going to get through this. It's leaning into each other and leaning into the love we all feel for Kiely and for each other. So take care, everyone, and all.
I'd like to turn it over next to our Placer County Sheriff's Lieutenant Josh Barnhart. He will be discussing more on the investigation thus far.
Good evening, everyone. I'm currently assigned to investigations as a lieutenant in our main office in Auburn. And like the sheriff said, the outpouring of support from the community and from law enforcement agencies has just been amazing to watch. And I just want to tell the family again that we're working very hard for you. We've brought the family in, we've shown them what we're doing, and hopefully they have been able to see the extent to which law enforcement and our assistance has gone to this point with the search and rescue effort, with the investigations effort, and all of the agencies involved in this. It's just amazing. We've had to tell the detectives, no, you're done for the day, you need to go home, and they've been stubborn, and they've been staying longer, working on very little sleep. Just 3 points to talk about tonight. We are continuing to collect media from every source of video, especially photos. We've even asked attendees of the party to come in that were willing to bring their phone so that we could use the data from their phones for the investigation. We've been working the extensive amount of tips that have come in, and I urge everyone to continue that effort. Make sure that you're, anything that comes up that you think of, please call that tip line. And again, you can remain anonymous if you desire. Our detectives, including the FBI, have been going door to door, collecting data, media as well, video. They've been going to residences, collecting ring camera video, anything that they can, gas stations. We've been asked, what about cameras at intersections, cameras here, everything we're taking into consideration at this point, and we're collecting. I'll just end with 12:33 a.m. was the last known time that we have for Kiely. Anything after that, we have not been able to find. And so, please, again, we urge, we beg you, that if you were there, you know something, please come forward and give us that information so we can continue our investigation past 12:33. Thank you.
Next, we'll be hearing from Nevada County Sergeant Hack. He's been in charge of the search and rescue effort.
I want to thank everybody for being here today. So far in our search and rescue effort, we have over 16 agencies that have worked with us. We have in the field today, again, over 100 volunteers searching. We are utilizing resources from the local, state, and federal level to help us with the search. Equipment-wise, we are searching with motorcycles, 4x4s. We are using aircraft from CHP, from Washoe County, from Placer County, and from the Office of Emergency Services. Since I talked to you yesterday, we've doubled the amount of man hours. Yesterday we were at 1,500 hours, and we are now about 3,500 hours dedicated by volunteers in the search effort. We have partners from throughout the state who are cooperating with us remotely to assist with our mapping and our search and rescue effort. Our search area has extended as far north as Searville. To the east, we've reached all the way to Verdi. We've gone south of I-80, below Truckee, and we've reached beyond Jackson Meadows Reservoir to the west. It's a very large area, and our searchers have been putting a lot of hours in, and they're dedicated to assisting us in this search effort. That's all I have right now.
Nevada County Sheriff's Captain Sam Brown and Placer County Sheriff's Captain Troy Sander would like to say a few words.
Good evening, and before I get into too much, I really just want to thank our partners at the Placer County Sheriff's Office. Excuse me. Being a unified command has amplified our abilities drastically, and they bring a lot to the table. We also have the Truckee Police Department, CHP, every federal, state, we've even had the Air Force. There's too many people to thank, and too many things that have gone on. This list would go on and on and on. Before I say anything, really, I guess I'm more apologetic that it's a regurgitation of all the things that we've been saying, we've been doing. We're expanding, we're working pretty hard, our folks are tired. We've had people searching from all sorts of fashions. We had people swimming in the water today, looking, searching. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never seen an effort as large as this. I don't have as much time on as Sheriff Blue, but I have a good solid 10 years in search and rescue. Multiple day searches, all kinds of things. And I've never seen a case like this, and it is really hard to face the family and not really have good answers for you guys. So we're trying our best. Our people are exhausted, they're tired, but they're showing up every day, putting a smile on their face, and really doing the best they can. What I am really appreciative of is the community support and the things that everybody's bringing to the table. We created a mapping system from some of our STAR folks. CalTopo is a huge tool that we use, and it's allowing the citizens in the area and people who are coming from way out of the area as well, because I've talked to people in the parking lot that have come from out of state in different various areas, to be able to provide some of the tracks and things that they're doing within the area. It allows us to create more mapping and show more detail and more information, and that's what we're lacking right now, is more information. And although we can't necessarily direct those sources and provide certain things, it gives us more information and more direction of where to go or where not to go. And those are all really important. And so if you haven't been by the family's trailer in the parking lot, we do have a system set up where you can help collect your tracks as well, and we can overload those with the tracks that we've done, and that's a huge help. I've been on lots of searches where it's not us that finds somebody. Sometimes it's other people that are out in the community that come across something, and they're able to report it to us and help bring families hopefully something positive. And we are working extremely hard for that. I know from Sheriff Boone, I've talked to her, she's unable to even speak at the moment due to some laryngitis and things like that. And I told her I'd come up here and talk on her behalf. 100% invested in this, and she wants nothing but the best, and I know if she could come up here and talk, she'd be saying all the same things, probably a little more eloquently than I can. We have support from our district supervisors, our partners and friends, Truckee PD, CHP, everything that we can think of. I've worked with Kiely numerous times, and they're putting those stops to the efforts and energies, as well as our CEO, who has offered up resources and things like that to help assist with moving on. When I was in the parking lot yesterday, and I know I'm going long, so I apologize, I think it was yesterday, somebody came up and said they were nervous to come and talk to us, and they were uncomfortable. And I looked at them and said, well, why? I'm a person who come talk to me, and I understand the uniform thing. I have 2 kids, they're young. I'm a wrestling coach down in Grass Valley. I talk to kids all day long. I hang out with kids. I've had kids call me with problems and troubles and struggles outside of the law enforcement realm. I get that media has been pretty harsh on law enforcement. We feel greatly supported in Nevada County, and I know Placer County feels the same. The only thing I would say is I would encourage kids to come up, engage us, talk to us. I don't even talk about what's going on, but maybe that leads into something you might know, something you feel comfortable about. And just, I would encourage you to share or be forthcoming, because we need information. We're getting to the point where I don't know how to move forward without more information. and the family's been great. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Troy Sander, Placer Sheriff, on behalf of Sheriff Blue, Under Sheriff Wright. We feel the pain, we see the faces, everything you feel as parents, everything you're going through as friends and family, we also feel it with you. We have one mission, we have one team, and we have one cause. And we're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep going forward. We have a great working relationship with our partners, Truckee PD, CHP, FBI, the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I couldn't ask for a better group of people. And we're going to keep the pedal to the metal. And as I said yesterday to everybody that's out there, if you have to ask yourself the question, should you come forward with some information, you've already answered it. No piece of information is too small. It matters to us, it matters to the family, it matters to the cause. So with that, I close by saying, stay optimistic. Don't let it beat you. You gotta fight through it. We're fighting for you. You got to stay optimistic. This community is great. Be with this family. Have their back. Thank you.
We'd like to now open up the portion of this meeting to Q&A, and then we'll direct questions to the appropriate individual to answer. Yes, ma'am.
Hi. So for the people who've been out physically searching in the forest, in the area, it's now been blocked off, right? Like we're not supposed to go out and look in the bushes.
Clarification on blocked off area.
Okay. So for people who were on foot, going into some of the areas like the little coves around Polka and, local areas that we like to hang out at and kind of investigating there, am I clear that we're not being asked to go and do that anymore? We're being asked to leave the space so that the law enforcement can do their job, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll answer that. The question, just in case, I don't know if it's relating over the other forms, but was whether we're telling people to stay out of an area or anything like that. There have been times throughout the search, like the boat ramp, we asked people to stay out of it, we shut it down for a while and things of that nature. We don't have anything that's shut down at this point. We would do that from time to time if there's something that we're concerned about for evidentiary value. What I would caution people on that are civilian citizens who don't have training and don't know necessarily the types of things we're looking for, the types of things that could get damaged by it, just caution people to be really careful. A footprint could become important. A tire track could become important. So the more foot traffic and things like that, we lose some of that. But at this point, honestly, we're looking for a car, we're looking for Kiely, potentially a phone. I'm not telling anybody to stay out of any area or anything like that. But I just want people to just be careful and conscious of what they're walking into and seeing.
Hi, I kind of have two questions in part based on something you just said. But
Can you speak a little louder?
yes, sorry, I have two questions now. Super appreciative of everything all you are doing and all the resources that are being put on this. It's clear. But there was a little bit of a contradiction, I think, with the search and rescue gentleman that spoke, addressed a group yesterday about areas that civilians should be tromping on and looking in and which they shouldn't. Just throwing that out there. But mainly, I guess I want to just say that or ask, what search is going on outside of this area? What efforts are being put on the search outside of this area? Because it's clear a lot is being done in this vicinity, and some of it's treacherous terrain, and that's a huge, huge ordeal in and of itself. But given that we all know someone could have abducted her and jumped on Highway 80 and been out of state and could be halfway across the country by now, and there's no Amber Alert that has been issued, and I understand it's because it hasn't met the criteria of evidence that there was an abduction, but I would just like to know or understand a little bit more about that.
So, just so we can understand, we have a two-part question. The first part is, what are we doing to search beyond this area, and why have we not yet issued an Amber Alert?
I understand why the Amber Alert hasn't been issued, it seems, but yeah, the first part you have correct.
Sure. Okay.
in regards to where do you start searching, when you're in the search world, you have a area that you're going to search based on clues and objectives and ideas of where something is. And in this case, we're really focused on the point glassine because that's the last point that we know. What you're really starting to focus on, and you heard Sergeant Cat talk about the expansion in the amount that goes on, you're starting to get into a thing where you're not really searching like that area. You're now traveling roads and looking for, like, say, the car. And there are tools out there that are looking for the car. Law enforcement has all been notified of the car. Bolos have reached all over the place to be on the lookout for the car. We have people from the UK that are reporting on this case. I would say that if not the entire country, the entire world has had some tip on this case. The car is the easier target to locate, obviously, because it's larger, right? We would expect that we'd be able to find the car. Man, where I stood up here and apologize, I wish I could come and say that we found it. When you talk about expansion, and you're going to send people on countless days and hours, but just to search anywhere randomly with no cause, that's just not a responsible thing to do, and it doesn't give us any goals of where we're going. So I will say that there's tools out there, there's pieces in place to try to locate the vehicle, and as well as Kiely, and there's still in the background lots of investigation that's going on with what Lieutenant Barnhart was talking about in the investigative world that hopefully will lead us to some clues and things like that. But to honestly just say, hey, where do you search? We are looking at, say, Stampede Lake, Boca Lake, but then where do you stop? Do you look at the bottom of Tahoe? Do you look at wherever? Those aren't things that we can do. I mean, we are just people, just like everybody in this room, and we have the capability of tapping into certain systems and things that give us more resources to do things. But at the same point, if you're thinking about it, we're probably sitting around the table talking about it and how do we do this, and they're exactly things like that. As far as the Amber Alert, as late as today, we're still attempting to push that system through, have that go out, but I'd still even remind people that, like, it is out. Everybody knows. We're trying to put it out as much as possible. I know it's a bone of contention. We don't control the system, but we're trying to justify as much as possible the reasons of why we believe that it should be in the system. And we agree with you guys. There's none of us that are disagreeing with you guys, but we're trying to work within a system that's designed that we don't control. And so we're doing our best to navigate that road.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Janine Lewis from Sacramento, California, and I am very curious to know where all of these people parked. And how was her car parked? Was it wedged in? Somebody answer that. How was the parking situation? And if somebody saw her park, and if it was boxed in, or if it was somewhere off the beaten path, or
So your question is how the car was parked and what cars were near it?
yeah.
Well, we're trying to piece all that together. We have our digital evidence we're trying to recover from all the young kids that were at this party. So that question is on a list of about 1,000 others that we have that are probably equally all in your mind. As my partner said just a minute ago, if you think about it, we've thought about it, right? But we want those things shared. So when we piece those pieces together and they draw those conclusion points, we can put conclusion points together to draw inferences about what really happened. And right now, it's tough for us because we don't have a lot to go off of. So appreciate your question, but it's an ongoing investigation. We're still trying to put all that data together. So, thank you.
She was next. No. Let's go to the grandfather, and then we'll come to you, ma'am.
I came back from Birchdale the other day, and the Caltrans sign beyond the pump station was turned off. It was blank. Why?
I see what you should answer that one.
So Eric Aggie, California Patrol Trucking Commander. So the CMS boards are activated when the Amber Alert is activated. That's the changeable message sign that you're speaking of. So since the criteria for Amber Alert has not been met, the message boards won't be activated.
Who's responsible for establishing that criteria?
California law determine the criteria for when Amber Alert and when it's issued.
Little ways of an asset.
Yes, you're here.
We're going to move on to this young lady here.
That's Mom.
I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Mom. I'm pregnant.
Lindsay, do you want to stand up?
Hi. Yeah, this Amber Alert thing, you guys, it was frustrating. I was in, I've seen these guys' faces a lot. We were in there, we were talking about the Amber Alert, we were talking about all of these things. There is nobody standing behind me right now that doesn't agree that the Amber Alert should have already been issued immediately. So, they share all of our frustration with that. And so, I know that it's this point and it's this question, you know, and it doesn't seem right, and so many times in life, things just don't seem fair, and there's a lot right now that doesn't seem fair, but sticking on something that doesn't seem fair and continuing to just, you know, to not move forward isn't helpful either. So, at this point, what I'm thinking, you know, if we all feel this way and if they feel this way, there may be other people who feel this way too, and so maybe we can use this opportunity to, rather than keep on asking these guys, you know, we can go to our state legislatures, we can do things that might be actually more helpful and more effective in changing that, even if it doesn't change it today, even if it doesn't change it tomorrow or for Kiely at all. Maybe it could change it, you know, for someone else, and that can be a positive effect too. But please understand that the lack of any new information, the lack of any movement forward with this case is not for a lack of resources, it's not for a lack of want, it's not for a lack of determination from everyone who I'm looking at, from everyone who stands behind me, and from everyone who stands behind them. So, let's work together and let's focus on asking questions that will lead to positive results instead of focusing on questions that are, I'm losing it now. I have a lot of, you know, I don't have a lot of blood sugar.
Get some action down in Sacramento.
What's the link for the Amber? Thank you.
I think the most appropriate answer, sir, to answer your question is to start with your local representative and your board of supervisors and respectfully bring these issues forward to them and maybe seek some advice from them as to how you would proceed in something like this. So I think that probably is your best bet. Thank you. In search and rescue, we have numerous resources in relation to Canine. They all have a different typing. So we use different types of dogs for different situations. And thus far in our investigation, we've been using what are called area see-through dogs. And those are dogs that look search an area for a person. Those are the type of dogs we have. We haven't been able to establish a trail to put a bloodhound on at this point.
I'm a student of the University of Nevada, Reno, and I just want to report that students of Reno high schools as well as UNR were in attendance at that party. Has there been any coordination efforts with Reno, Sparks Police, or with the university? We are in our summer session and taking finals tomorrow. Has there been any outreach to professors to communicate with their students?
Can I say simply yes to all of the above? We have reached out to those law enforcement agencies and they've been working with us. Even in specific instances where we gain some information, we can coordinate and ask them to go check this lead. So yes, we work with them. I hope that answers your question.
Hi, mine's just a clarifying question. I was at the trailer earlier today and I did see the search area map and it did say to stay out of this area. So I'm just wanting to clarify based on what was on the map today, and is that going to be enforced tomorrow, just for people who just want to help?
So initially we had communicated with the private search folks to some areas that we were determining were high likelihood for evidence. And our search and rescue volunteers go through extensive training on recognizing clues, protecting evidence, so that a small footprint or something that can be the single thing that turns the tide in a search. So we initially were asking for some particular areas for private searchers to stay out of. We've since rescinded that. And the only place that we are based out of and that we're asking folks to stay out of is our ICB. Incident command post.
Incident command post, for anybody who didn't hear.
As Lindsay so bravely said, that our goal is to move forward in gaining any information that will help us in the investigation of just collecting what most likely from the kids at the party. And so I think to myself, if I was a young adult with a cell phone, how do I know that my cell phone isn't going to get registered when I call up the tip line? That even if I'm not concerned as a teen about getting in trouble for any illicit drug or alcohol use, but maybe I'm concerned that I actually saw something that was foul play, and I'm afraid to get myself in trouble or tattletale on somebody else to get them in trouble. I know that sounds awful, but I'm just trying to think as a brain, as a teen.
Yeah.
You know, we're afraid of getting in trouble. That my phone number is going to be legitimately anonymous. That because we all know when we get spam calls all the time, it still shows phone number. So if we're trying to move forward and really encourage these kids at that party to come forward as much as possible with information, because that's your main resource, how can we, so to say, guarantee that, hey, look, you're going to call this phone number, or there's whatever anonymous ways that you think that there's some sort of foul play that you're not going to get in trouble with. We need you to come forward with that information. And that's what I'm wondering about the tip line there. Is it really truly anonymous? That's not registering a cell phone number to come back at them at this point if the goal is to bring her home safe and not get anybody in trouble. Thank you.
Complex question for sure, right? Because anytime you use a phone, there's some sort of trail or message. I think when we are talking about things like this, and we're talking about needing people to be brave and step up and stand tall when maybe something has gone wrong. But I understand what you're talking about because lack of trust and fear and the things that go on. I don't know that you could ever guarantee 100% anonymity of anything. However, what I can say is that treating an individual who provides a tip that puts them into danger is going to be treated extremely significantly from law enforcement in protecting that individual. And if there's concerns or true, like, hey, how do I completely stay anonymous, there'll be some more information later today about a new tip line that will be coming out through an email system. And somebody can truly create an email address at the library and send an email from that, from somewhere, things of that nature. But we live in a digital world that has lots of connections, and in this case, we've lost a connection with one person, and we need people to be brave and stand up and do the right thing. If somebody's worried about anonymity or getting in trouble, I think that we're going to do the best that we can to provide that for an individual, even if they came in and talked to us. And we go to great lengths. We have lots of crimes that are investigated where people do not know who that person is. We have training classes to seal warrants to keep people there. However, when you're dealing on a high-end, real significant case, I don't know if you can guarantee any kind of anonymity like that. The only way somebody keeps a secret is they don't tell anybody. And right now, we don't know if there's a secret or not. We're trying to encourage people to come forth that may have information, but we don't have information that they have something negative either. So the message shouldn't be misconstrued that we think juveniles are running around with the key to success in this case. There really could be no information, but we need to get the word out there so that in the event that it is there, we will help protect people and keep them safe if they feel like they're in danger, and we'll do that to the best of our abilities. Whether they're juvenile or an adult, we will do the same thing for them.
Sir, do you have a question?
My question is, the night of the incident, and given the sheer numbers of participants at this party, were park rangers or the campground staff, did the concern ever rise to a point where they reached out for additional support, law enforcement support to come out and address that?
You guys are going to get really tired of hearing from me. Sorry. We checked in. I believe it was confirmed we had 0 calls for service. We did have a deputy, and I believe somebody from the U.S. Forest Service was actually in the area the night of, and nobody was diverted to that for any kinds of concerns or anything. It's not illegal for kids to go camping in the woods, and obviously there's information that maybe people are doing things and drinking and potentially some drugs and things like that. We're reassured. At this point, we don't care about any of that. And in fact, any crime that's really committed outside of our presence, there's very limited amount of things that we can take action on. But I can tell you right now, we don't care. We just want to find Kiely. So whatever you can provide, but we did not have any calls for service regarding it.
Hi, my name is Nyla, and I've been volunteering at the outside the last few days. I just wanted to ask, because one of the main questions that we've been getting at the booth is that the tip line doesn't work. People keep telling us, I've tried to call the tip line and it doesn't go through, and that's been a very common question. So for us to know what would be like the secondary best option to refer people if the tip line's not working, instead of those tips not getting through. That's my first question, and I have a second question. I haven't seen anybody really address in Spanish, the Hispanic community. Is that something that you are going to do? We did have a mother come and talk about how there might be undocumented families in the area, and we have a large Hispanic population who might be really fearful to come forward because of their family situation. And what would you have to say to them to give them the same security that you're giving every other student? Like, you're not going to get in trouble for drugs. Would you get in trouble? Would you get kicked out of the U.S. or something that would be like such a fear that somebody wouldn't speak to, and then also just addressing them possibly in Spanish would be useful.
Good question.
So to answer about the tip line, I'm not sure about that. I know that the tips are flowing in. So if someone does come in with that concern, there are alternatives. Obviously not anonymous, but if you do call one of our dispatch centers, Nevada County Sheriff, Truckee, Placer, that information, or they will get transferred or their information taken down to be given to a detective to follow up. I hope that answers your question.
I think these are the your questions spot on, and this is a good reason for having a community meeting is to not miss the target audience. We'll work on getting some of our flyers and things translated because it's a fantastic idea. As far as INS, there's a huge criteria to report somebody to ICE, which is the Immigration Customs Services and whatnot. I believe Nevada County's done like 0 of them. I think there's some requirements when somebody is incarcerated, but we're still not even turning people over to Immigration and Customs. We're not interested in that. We're interested in locating people, but I can't guarantee that if somebody was located and their information met that criteria, that they wouldn't be reported or there wouldn't be some further action. I can't guarantee that because those circumstances could be seriously major, and I wouldn't know that ahead of time. However, that's not our concern. Our concern is fighting Kiely. So for minor things and issues that people might be concerned about, most of the time, people who are here, whether legally or illegally, if they're not documented or their family and things like that, they typically kind of know the rundown of what would get them in trouble or not. Or maybe they use a family friend that does have their papers and is squared away and doesn't have to, and that can be reported again anonymously through a third party. And they can always refuse to provide that information. And so I think there's strategies that maybe people can utilize that if they're really afraid. I had a lady yesterday come up to me and give me a third party information about an area to check. I wrote down the clue and the tip, and I basically did the same as the tip line would do. I fed it into the machine, and the folks that are tracking all the tips and everything let it in. It doesn't have to be where we're tracking everything. We want clues. So even if somebody calls up, yeah, we might have a phone number, but whatever, you can call from a store, you can call from a payphone. I mean, there's some drastic methods to take. If you're really, truly afraid and need to be anonymous, I get that. If you saw something really gruesome, then I get that. I just want to say we don't have a crime scene or something like that either. I don't want people to immediately go down that awful role of humans and things like that. Somebody said earlier, let's be positive and work towards a goal. If somebody knows something like that, I would sure hope that they would come forward. But we are looking for any and all clues, and including, if people aren't documented being afraid, there's methods I think they could utilize, and we'll work on translating some of our flyers.
I'd like to address real quick a comment that you made that I think is at the crux of this whole issue. When parents are to take on a lot of responsibility, and as kids get teenage years and phones now, there's a lot of complications that I didn't have to deal with when I was young. If your child tells you, or your kid tells you, like, I think I have something not good, and there's also some things I might get in trouble for, that's risk. I would ask every parent to measure that to their loss. Right now. And put yourself in their shoes. And be courageous for them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I want to follow up with the tip question. My partner reminded me another alternative is the email address that has been set up. So if someone isn't able to get through the lines clogged, you can refer them to the email address.
I just have a quick comment. For people who are feeling more fear, and if this is the case and they're afraid to come forward, one thing to also consider is that if there is a predator in our community that is facilitating this kind of behavior, that's a lot scarier. And that's something that we can all come together on. And I think that's something to consider as well, please.
Has it been determined if the invitation to this party was public knowledge or if it was a mass personal communication sent out.
So the question is whether or not there was one point of origin where the invite came out.
Can you determine if the public had access to this invitation at any point? Because I guess I'm kind of coming off of, I was at Truckee Thursday, the Thursday prior, and I was airdropped invitations to an after party. I have no idea who sent those to me, but that's now a way to be invited to things. So I'm curious if there's been any determination on if people had to communicate with another individual personally, or if there was Facebook posts that came from it.
There was multiple invites, via all means of media to this party. So to pinpoint one, it was multiple uses of media.
Hi. I think her questions and what's helpful but might not want to be disclosed is we all as a community have a lot of questions about what transpired. And people say, well, do they have cameras on Interstate 80? And did you see the car get on Interstate 80? And I think we all have faith that you are doing this sort of stuff. But as we, the public, will we ever it's just not our business until Kiely's found? Or are you going to give us some crumbs of what you're doing so we can work through that as well?
So at this point, and I think we've been very honest and open with the family of where we are at with the investigation. There are some things that we cannot talk about because it might interfere with the investigation, but what we know is that Kiely's car after 12:33 a.m. has not been seen.
Has not been seen. Okay.
So we are following up on every lead possible. If we get information that there was a silver car matching her description seen anywhere, we're following up with that. And then, so I hope that answers your question. It's not necessarily something that we're going to update the public on, but if we do have a big find, it's going to be something significant for us that we might be putting out to the public, yes.
Bear with me here. My name's Kiely Mai Rodni, Kiely's father. I'm running on fumes here, so bear with me here. Something dawned on me this morning that, obviously our family has suffered immensely. I mean, I can't tell you what we're going through. But what dawned on me this morning is Kiely is born and raised here. She is this community. She is your daughter too, she is this is our community's daughter. She is no longer just our daughter. This is your kids. These are the parties your kids are going to. We need answers, and you need answers, because when your kids become 16, where are they going to go? My daughter's a straight A student. On her way to UC Santa Cruz, she is at 16. She's 16 going to college, This is Tahoe. This isn't supposed to happen here, We need answers. Remember, this Kiely is your child too. So please, anything, please, we need you.
If there's no further questions, I'd like to pass the mic to Cassie.
Hi everyone. I'm just coming to you from the civilian front, from the team Kiely that's been working over there at the base camp since Sunday. Thank you everyone for all the work that you've been doing and all your volunteer services. Thank you all. Thank you. I come to you not as a good friend of the family. I come to you as a second-hand friend of a good friend of somebody. If that makes sense, decipher that. The reality is the way this community has come together, it is amazing. And I want you to know that we are going to be there every day from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. working and searching and answering questions and holding your hands while you're holding our hands. This is about hope. This is about that we keep moving forward, because one thing we know is when we sit and we're idle, what happens? Unless you're breathing and meditating, what happens? We get lost. So please, if you're like, I don't know what I can do, come down and say hi. Let us know that you're thinking of us. Do the social media pieces. Flyering, yes, we're going to have them in Spanish. Come down, flyer that. Flyer again where it's been flyer before. Maybe you saw it over here, but we didn't see it over there, and maybe it's only two blocks away, but we can flyer. We have people going all over the area, beyond Truckee, beyond Tahoe. We can do it again. Searching, that app that we have now, amazing, right? How many great gals and guys that have been on their motorcycles, on their feet, and walking through the forest and the trails and looking for something that lets us know that Kiely is coming home, right? That's what we're doing. Once, a million times is not too much to travel those roads. We have to travel lots of roads to find truth, and so let's find the truth. Let's find Kiely. So we have a team. We have a team. Say that, tongue twister, team. There are 5 significant teams that have been working on this case. They have been doing the social media. They have been part of the powerhouses of what we're doing. We also have an adult team. So let's not think that we are leaving our teens on our own to be able to figure out how we find Kiely. We are all here. We are all working, right? So Kiely's going to share what is happening next for the teens for tomorrow night.
So, hi. Here, give me a second. So, yeah, as you said, I'm Sammy. I'm one of the leaders of the team. Yeah, it's a tongue twister, yes. We have had a great output. Yesterday, when we had the Tahoe Teen to Teen. What a Teen to Teen talk is no parents, no media, no cops, no adults. It's just kids talking to kids. Your kids have best friends that are their ages. Your kids are comfortable talking to their friends. And hopefully what we're trying to do is that they can come to us and they can talk to us. They can tell us what they saw. They don't have to have the pressure of these cops. They don't have the pressure of the adults. They don't have the pressure of everything else that's going on. Something else could be going on in their life, but what's important is that they know that we are there to talk. We're not trying to get them in trouble. We're not trying to tell their parents on them or get them grounded or have the police on them. We can do completely anonymous tips. Everything helps. We've had a lot of kids say that, oh, I already gave out my witness statement. That's great. These are one-on-one interviews though. These can pop up, spark anything in your mind that you might remember. And these are crucial, and we have so much more evidence, many more things to work on based off of just our one in Tahoe yesterday. And what I'm here to talk about is that tomorrow, which will be August 11th, I believe, yes. we will be holding one in Incline. I want to make this clear that this is open to anybody that may have not gone to one yet. And you are welcome to come do Teen to Teens. Here at the Rec Center, we have everything set. Like, we can do Teen to Teens at any time. If you need me to drive out at 3 a.m. in the morning to meet you, I will. I will drive to people's houses. We can get you rides. We can get you there. We can talk to you anywhere you need. We just have set places so that there can be rally points. But this one's tomorrow, 8/11, like that's the date, will be held at from 5 to 7:30. We can't stay later. We stayed out until 10 p.m. yesterday at Incline High School. So from 5 to 7:30 or later on August 11th at Incline High School, we will have a Teen to Teen. This is open to anybody from Reno, South Lake Tahoe, Kings Beach, Truckee, anybody who needs to. That is the rally point for tomorrow for this. Again, I want to say that you are welcome to come out and talk to us at any point. I've been doing some today. I did some yesterday. I did hundreds yesterday. I've done everything, and we really just need every teenager to come out and talk. I heard that question earlier about the deportation and ICE and everything. I don't know you. I don't have to know you. I will act like I've never seen you once before in my entire life, even if you're my best friend. I will act like this is the first time. I will take your name to jail. If they try to question me for that, I don't care. I'm not about
Don't incriminate yourself today.
Seriously.
Good job, Sammy.
Are there any more questions? Anybody? Okay, we'd like to,
Maybe I just wanted clarification using the app for doing the search. Maybe I misunderstood when I was at the motorhome. That are we getting assigned an area, the preference for us, or just go out and just look, period? That's, I guess, where I wanted the clarification on.
So on the app, all the data that's been collected from the time the app was initiated. We're also collecting historical information for persons who have tracked themselves in previous days. That information is all available on that map. The greatest recommendation I would make is if you look at that map, you can see where people have not been. You have to look at yourself. You have to look at the situation. We have had incidents in the past where people have gotten themselves into areas become hurt, and we've had to take searchers away from our search effort to go rescue them. So we want you to really look at those things and be honest with yourself if that's an area that you should be. But by looking at that map, you can see what areas need to still be checked.
But I presume since we are still looking for a vehicle, you would be looking where a vehicle could move.
So we're not going to rule out any scenario. We're looking for tiny items. We are looking for Kiely, and we are looking for a vehicle.
we'd like to conclude this meeting and,
Okay, so just, I was negligent in thanking you. I thank everybody who's here, I thank everybody who's watching, I thank everybody who's to my right. Thank you, I think, the town and the community, and I'm kind of bubbling a little bit, but just the support that we have received from everywhere, from everyone, from people who we know and love and recognize their faces, with our eyes closed, to those who we've never seen your face before, and you're just a new dear friend. Thank you for caring so much about my baby. Let's keep moving forward and let's bring her home. So, okay.
It's kind of hard to follow that up. We do want to add that as of today, the Sheriff's Office has created a QR code for anybody who wants to submit photos or videos that they believe are pertinent to this investigation. We have set up a link on all of our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, in addition to in-person QR codes. As a matter of fact, there's a QR code on a piece of paper on that table in the back, where we have Taylor Wolf, Nevada County PIO. She's holding it out.
I will pull that.
So please, anybody has any information or knows anybody who has any type of information that they think may benefit us in our investigation to bringing Kiely home to her parents and her family and her friends, please, please, please tell them we have multiple modes of recording this. And we do want to add that our Detective Sergeant Alford on the side over here is available to take any questions, or anybody who may think that they have a tip or any piece of information and they just want to pass it on, no questions asked. With that being said, we will conclude our community meeting for this evening. Thank you so much. We also want to add that we know somebody in the region, somebody in the community has to know something. You know, what if this was your daughter? What if it was your sister, your cousin, your best friend? Would you want that weighing on your conscience for the rest of your life? Knowing that Kiely's mother and father and her family members may never get to see her again? Because you were too afraid to come forward because you were worried that you may get arrested and that your life will be ruined. We're here to tell you, you will not get arrested for whatever happened, or whatever you drank or ingested that evening. We just want to bring Kiely home to her family. So please ask yourself that question. Is that something you want weighing on your conscience for the rest of your life? Kiely's family has already suffered long enough. We need to bring her home. So please, to anyone out there, please, 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 if you don't want to call our tip line, if you don't want to submit an online tip, if you have any piece of information, even if you think it's useless, it may be very useful to us. Please, 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 please upload you can upload these videos and photos anonymously. It is very optional to add your name, your number, and your email address on this form. It's optional. You don't need to do it. All you need to do is just upload what you have. We can't trace you, we can't track you. Please just help us get Kiely home. At this time, we'd like to open up the community meeting portion for questions.
Thank you. My name is Jody Sweet. I know some of these guys. I know the police chief. I'm a long-time local. My family's been in this area over 150 years. Yesterday, I talked to Nevada County Search and Rescue. They treated me like crap. I also talked to one of your deputies. There was a female that was over there. And what I was trying to say to them, as somebody that was local here, I used to know Ron Perea, one of their chief detectives. And I heard through the background that there was a sighting reported to you on Tuesday out of 60th. And I have not heard any more on this. And the sighting goes, it was a truck and a silver Honda, which leads me to the conclusion, by talking to locals in town here, that I'm hearing from some of my friends in town, kids were at the party, there were a lot of Nevada plates. The obvious conclusion is me. Whoever these people are, they know the back roads really well. From what I understand, we're in about day 7 and you haven't found the car. I talked to Detective Perry here, and in the old days, Ron Perea, we go back to Casey Lee Dugard, the Knorr case, I'm sure you're familiar with. and Paulie Class. Nevada County guys would talk to the old timers like me because we knew the back roads. And as a matter of fact, you know, we used to party out here too. So one of the questions they always ask is where if you were going to get rid of a car. And I talked to Perry and I mentioned, I thought if you're going deep water, there's only 2 reservoirs, and that is Jackson Meadows and Bowman. And I'm just kind of curious. I know you had a government Air Force plane flying over, from what I'm hearing, that it was looking for ground imaging and apparently didn't find anything. But what I'm hearing now is you guys are doing side scanning sonar. And I'm just kind of curious if you can answer me a question. Has Jackson Meadows or Bowman been swept looking for a car?
I'm going to let Nevada County Lieutenant Perry answer that question. Thank you.
Sir, like you and I talked extensively before the meeting, Search and Rescue has searched a lot of areas right now, and they're following up on all the tips that come in, which may dictate a change in that search area. And like I think we talked about earlier about some other information to talk to the detective about after the meeting. But at this point, to my knowledge, we have searched a portion of the Jackson Meadows area, but I'm not aware of anything that would have led us to Bowman.
So, no sonar has been used on Jackson. Is that what I'm hearing? Nobody's looked in there?
I'm not aware of a sonar search of Jackson.
Okay, the other question I had, and I told you, I always thought NID had cameras at that dam, and also down at Bowman Dam. And you know this like I do in the old days. That route is used constantly to haul drugs, money to Nevada. And I don't know what the operations is of the Fed, but it would seem logical that there would be some type of camera back in there to check out. So, and that's none of my business, I understand it, but I'm going from a long time local. We're kind of away. And I told you something, there was a guy in town that I think your detective should talk to about this because his sons were at that party. And what's bothering me is I remember Paulie Class, I remember the Norrs, and I remember Jason Dugard. The Norr case especially lit hair on fire up here, especially when the 2 girls were found at Squaw and the airport out here. And that was your guy at the time, I think it was Ken Royal and Ron Perea. Ron Perea, bless his heart, is gone. But I'm reacting, I guess, in a way because I can understand the family, because I remember these days, and I'm old time. So maybe I'll go talk to one of your investigators before the meeting's over and leave it at that. But to be honest with you, I didn't hear anything from your detective. I also talked to CHP officer Carlos. You know who Carlos is? Him and I used to bounce, Bar of America in the old days. I talked to him and told him this morning. I did not hear anything from your office. So I will talk to the sheriff here, and if I could talk to him privately, I might be maybe something will jog a memory or something. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Next question.
Thank you. I recently saw on the missing person on a missing persons page that there was a couple from Yuba City that have gone missing.
Question regarding the Yuba City couple.
To Yuba City, so at least within an hour of us. In addition to just at the same time frame, a gentleman who bought a train ticket for a 4:30 train this past week and never came back to get his luggage. I know that tip has been reported. Do you see any sort of connection? Because that's 4 people in 1 week that have disappeared in the same area. Do you know anything about that? Is there anything more about the man who left his luggage and never showed up? There are train people?
Your question about whether or not our case here with Clean Truckee is related to other missing person cases, I can speak directly to the case that involves Nevada County and the Yuba City Police Department on the couple that was reported missing. We have a portion of our detective unit working on that case currently, and as of right now, there's no connection there.
No connection they are aware of.
Next question.
I also want to add something to it.
Can you speak down now? Sorry, we can't
Yes,
hear
I can. Thank you. Yes, yesterday night I drove at night from Incline Village after hiking with friends, and I get a pop-up message that my location is air-tagged and I'm followed by. It never happened with me before, and I never get any air tag, and I don't use any device. Of course, I have the application, but it's not about that. Air tag is a device, and I was driving. It means it's in my car. So before this meeting, I come to talk to officers because I don't know what to do. Maybe somebody's sister or somebody's wife or daughter get the same pop-up recently. Maybe it's connected. Maybe this girl has the same at this night before she disappeared. So I talked to officer, I was provided number to call. I called this number, and I appeared to be from wrong county or from wrong corridor. I don't know. It's really discouraging. So then I kind of was a little bit pushy. So officer come to my car, look at my car, nothing found, and I was told that I will be okay. No, it's not okay. I think it must be reported. My car must be investigated and very scared. Maybe it's some stupid thing, maybe. But too many stupid things in one time, in 1 week or whatever. It's not a good thing. Thank you.
I think the best thing to do at this point is to perhaps report your
Kiely. Do you have a question regarding Kiely, please?
Okay.
Handle that after this.
Yes, before we move on, yes, we'll have you report your issue to an officer or a deputy. Thank you. Next question, please.
I wasn't able to come to the meeting yesterday, so if this was discussed, I can catch up with some later. But could you give us some more information on the necklaces that are in the photograph up here?
Sure. We received this photo from Kiely's family yesterday. And so the photo here on the left with her 3 gold necklaces was taken about a month ago. And her mother tells us that Kiely has been wearing these necklaces for the past month. She hasn't taken them off. So we just wanted to make the public aware of this and just let them know if for any reason any of these necklaces are spotted somewhere, that we would urge anybody to please call us right away so that we could take a look and confirm whether or not these were in fact her necklaces. Thank you.
I was curious about if there's any information on the car found in the pond at Caltrans. There was a car that was found in Caltrans, and I don't know if they pulled it. You reported it, and I haven't heard anything back on it.
I don't know that we're aware of such a call. Where was this reported? What pond?
Pond over near Coldstream, where Kiely lived. There was I guess it was through a friend that works at Caltrans. We heard that there was a car in the pond, and I didn't know if you guys recovered it or anything. I reported it yesterday.
I recall some information about that, but there's also a lot of information coming out that we're vetting and we're going through and trying to see the validity in it. And I believe that tip was looked into, and I don't recall anything coming of it.
Yeah, Sam Brown, captain of that county sheriff's office. There's actually 2 ponds on Coldstream that go up that way. I believe that's both been blocked by ground pounders. It was flown with air support, helicopters, motorcycles, UTVs, patrol cars. The road's extensively been searched. We could always look at the map to confirm we're talking about the same ponds, but there's two bodies of waters right there as you go up.
Different ponds, the deep ponds at the bottom.
Then you should probably come and you can talk to us afterwards. But if you submitted the tip, they are covering all those things. Just because I don't know every body of water that was searched. Pretty much anything within the route, like around Coldstream, was obviously a high target area of making sure we covered it. But at the same point, we want to make sure we cover it.
Next question.
Hi, regarding Kiely's necklaces, could you tell us what are on those two charms? You can't really see it if you zoom into the photo. It looks like 2 out of the 3 have a charm on them, but I couldn't tell what they were.
Yeah, the picture's not very clear. We don't want to make any assumptions over what it may be. I don't think her mother was able to accurately tell us what it is either, so we just wanted to put the picture out there for advisory purposes. If anybody comes across something that may appear like her necklaces, we really want to hear from them.
There's information that she had a keychain from Sumi's. Is there any way to get a picture of that? Isn't that a purple keychain that had her keys on it in the car that night?
We haven't actually been provided that photo by family, so unfortunately we can't speak to it. I'm sorry.
I'm sure this has come up before, I've been out of town, and I know a lot of people are wondering, the qualifications for an Amber Alert. I understand she doesn't meet. Trying to get a little more understanding of what other, you're exploring more options. I was just in New York, and they had signs for adult missing persons as long as the car and the person was known. So I'm just wondering, is there any other avenues that are being explored, or trying to understand what the consequences are of a false Amber Alert? Trying to understand why that is not available to be used and spread and distributed on highways for if you know the car.
I'm going to let the California Highway Patrol Commander speak on that, but I will let you know that we have gone through every other avenue to get Kiely's picture out there and her story heard. As we mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, our social media posts of her have reached over 3 million people, and we have people calling in from all across the country and the world. Her picture is on billboards through the FBI and through Secret Witness. But I will let the CHP commander talk a little bit more about the Amber Alert portion of this.
Thank you for the question. So the California Highway Patrol is a statewide coordinator for the Amber Alert. And in 2002, the California legislature put into law the 4 criteria required to issue an Amber Alert. Confirmation that induction occurred, the person taken was 17 years of age or younger, has a proven mental or physical disability, they are in imminent danger, and there's information available that would lead to their immediate capture. So right now, one of those criteria is not being met for this case, which is why the Amber Alert has not been issued. What was issued on Saturday, immediately following the start of the investigation, was an endangered missing advisory, and that's something the CHP issues, and that goes statewide. That goes to all our communication centers, so all officers on the road are aware of it, of that license plate. The license plate goes into the hot list, which any license plate reader will pick up and immediately notify us that the vehicle is on the road.
Does that mean you recorded the data from that time?
Correct.
Okay, so you have analysts that are looking, let's just take a theory, they change plates, something would pop up, is what I'm saying. I'm thinking out of the box, but I would assume your analysts record everything that was going that morning, because there were like 25,000 cars going that way. I'm sorry.
So the question basically is that, are the cameras always picking up?
No, I'm just saying, is the data recorded? I mean, is it on a hard drive that they can go back and look again and again?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Has it been looked at?
That's been part of the investigation. Yes.
So when will that be complete? I'm asking, so if it is recorded and you guys are looking at it, and we know how much footage and how many cameras, do you have a time frame when that will be complete?
Well, the system's very quick. The license plate is in there. It's on top list. So
I wasn't looking at license plate recognition. I just mean if it's recorded, someone can watch video, because from that night, we know from 12 or 1 o'clock on, looking at the video, we only have a few cameras where you can exit this place and be caught on film to at least recognize to see if the car goes through. You may not pick up the license plate recognition due to lighter damage to the plate, but you can certainly recognize the car.
I think the best way to answer that is, we're talking about 2 different types of camera systems, and any available video that could possibly, any lead on any video that could be reviewed is part of the investigation.
I say could be, is it being reviewed?
Absolutely.
So when would that be complete?
Timeline.
The review of any, like I said, as things come in, it's ongoing review. It's constant. If there's video to be reviewed.
I'm assuming that we don't have plate readers on our back roads, on all the dirt roads, but we do have them probably obviously on 80. What areas would we not have them? Are they on 89 North? Would they be able to go that direction without being picked up? What areas don't have these plate readers?
Sam Brown again, Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I know everybody's got a lot of interest in the video and the license plate readers and all those things. Every time we talk about it, because we've been talking about it at all the meetings, I don't know that you can completely even understand the task of reviewing the video you're talking about, plus the video that we consider to be relevant that we're obtaining on a regular basis. One single cell phone can contain about 256, if not 500 gigabytes of information. I don't know that you understand the grasp of that. The other thing I would throw on is that we literally sent law enforcement from gas station to gas station, any store location that we thought had a video camera of some sort, which is how we ended up with some of our surveillance video that's here. And so yeah, I would say every effort to relevant information that we put at a higher priority is being reviewed. To sit and watch a camera on I-80 to see a vehicle go by at 65, maybe more miles per hour is almost an unsurmountable task, because now you're talking about not watching it at full speed, you're talking about slowing that down and sitting there watching it. You're not talking about hours, you're talking about days, weeks, maybe even months for a single video camera. And I know that that doesn't seem like that's as thorough of an answer as everybody wants to hear, but we're all humans and we're people, and we're taking video as a priority. How do we move that through? What's the best that we can do with it? And I assure you, there's a team of about 150 law enforcement officers that are assigned out. We have a group specifically assigned out to video specifically, just video. And some people are sitting there literally reviewing video and just watching it. Some systems are being sent off to be sent through automated systems that can look for license plates, vehicles, different types of things like that, and then comes back and allows us to kind of have a heads up if something pings or hits on that, because it's an insurmountable amount of information. And I don't know if anyone can understand the grasp. Our teams are in an up and down of emotions and trying to do the same things that you guys are doing. Ask those questions, get that information. We're not going to tell you where every camera and every license plate reader is at. That would be ridiculous. And it also could defeat the purpose of somebody trying to avoid those things. I assure you that, yeah, we are not perfect. We have not covered every single thing. I guarantee you. You guys will ask questions and give us information, and we have not done everything. When we leave, and if we're successful in what we're doing, we still won't have covered everything. It is impossible to cover everything. We're trying to be reasonable. We're trying to do the best job that we can. We'll answer questions all day long, but all the things about video, license plate readers, we'll never cover it all. It is impossible. You could bring the entire California civilization in here and tell them to review video, and we'll never keep up because it's still going. It's ongoing, nonstop. But we are putting every effort into doing what we think is reasonable, responsible, and hopefully going to be effective. And that's the best that I think we can do. And so I understand the frustration. I can hear the frustration. I feel it. I feel it when I sit back at the office. I feel it when I sit back at my house and thinking about it. We are trying our best, and video is a huge part of that. Amber Alerts, all of those things, all the questions that are coming up, we keep answering it. The answer's not changing because the efforts are still the same, and there's still the same struggles and still the same pieces of that. But we respect that everybody's upset. We understand that. We're upset. We want to have answers. We want to have solutions. We want to have results for the family, and we don't yet, and we're working on it. So that's the best I can say.
Sam,
Those other questions, if you can just be patient.
Thank you. My piece kind of comes to the social media side, and I would like to know how we as a community in Truckee and North Tahoe can help support your efforts with getting rid of bad information, things like the tip that she was found yesterday in South Reno and all that kind of garbage. Is there any way we can support you so that good information comes out and all this internet detectivery kind of goes away?
I really appreciate your question. Thank you very much. That has been a huge challenge for us. And yesterday, to be quite frank with everybody in this room, it took detectives and people who are in charge of this operation about 45 minutes to an hour. They diverted their attention for 45 minutes to an hour away from the search for Kiely to figure this out.
Yeah.
That's precious time that was lost.
Yeah.
First, they think they found her tank top. She wasn't wearing a tank top. She was wearing a black bodysuit. There's a big difference. Secondly, a vehicle matching Kiely's vehicle with the same plate found in South Reno in front of a gated community in South Reno with a male who was with her and who was acting erratically. False, 100%. Fake news. And there is fake news on social media. The majority of what you read on social media is fake news, believe it or not. So what I would urge the community to do is to please repost what the Nevada County Sheriff's Office puts out. Repost what we, the Placer County Sheriff's Office, put out. Any legitimate law enforcement agency that's pushing out information is the absolute most legitimate source of information you can ever find regarding these types of situations and these types of incidents. So please, if you want to help spread the word and help us squash and quell fake news, please reshare our posts. Because the more you do that, the more it will funnel in legitimate information. And the more that could flood that person's timeline with legitimate information, right?
Right.
The less room there will be for rumors to come out. And on behalf of the people who are putting out these rumors, I want to apologize to the family.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that you are probably reading all this and you are going through an absolute wave of emotions, up and down, up and down. We understand. We're going there. We're going through it with you. We want to apologize on behalf of these people. We're very sorry. I mean, we can't imagine how it makes the family feel. Can you imagine if your loved one's been missing and then all of a sudden you hear this recording and it's a dispatch recording saying that the vehicle was found and that the plate was an absolute match? How happy would that make you? Only to find out from law enforcement, sorry, it took us about an hour to figure out if it was true or not. It was just another rumor. Actually, it turned out that that specific incident, it was a blue minivan. It's very frustrating. And once again, I'm going to mention, if you want to help spread the word and help keep fake news off social media and help us find Kiely, please reshare what law enforcement's putting out. Please.
You got it.
I hope that answered your question.
Very much so. Thank you.
We're going to go to another question, sir. We'll come back to you.
I want to talk to Sheriff Brown.
Okay.
Hi. With Dog Valley, with Dog Valley ending up in Nevada, does CHP mention an alert
that you were able to put out, does NHP have that same alert? Are they able to be as informed as CHP?
I'll let the Truckee Police Chief answer that question.
Yeah, so we put out a critical reach flyer, and that critical reach flyer goes nationwide. So it depends on where and what state was listed on there, but I'm sure it's West Coast and beyond. Does that answer the question?
Thank you.
There's a piece of property off Dog Valley Road that is full of junked cars, and the address sign on the road is not there. You can tell where it is because it's in between the two other addresses. I was wondering if you guys were aware of this property and have looked at it.
It doesn't have a real estate address. It's only got a Google Earth.
Yeah.
I can't speak specifically to that address, sir, but I know we have extensively searched the area of Dog Valley Road.
I have a question for Sheriff Brown, please.
Yeah, if it's not helpful for the overall the community, we can always talk afterwards, but I can answer whatever question.
We'll have this be your last question, sir, and then once we conclude the Q&A, we'll have you speak to Captain Brown.
Captain Brown, you had an incident about 2 months ago in North San Juan where a person shot up the store and kidnapped a woman, and then she escaped out of a car. Now, I go to Grass Valley 3 times a week. My understanding, it was something with you guys with Washoe County checking that same road I keep talking about. And apparently, I understand there were some cameras put out. Now, if I'm blowing smoke, tell me not, but I believe they caught the guy in Reno, is that correct?
That's incorrect.
Have you caught the guy?
That is correct.
Okay. There was no connection on that fence?
Hold on. Why don't you and I talk afterwards? I'm not going to deliver tactics, tell you strategies and the things that we're doing in a community forum on a news channel. You and I can talk afterwards. The case you're talking about with that individual has zero to do with this. It causes more stress, causes more problems, and the mom said it best when she jumped up and defended us at one point in time, which I really appreciate. And what she wanted was progress, positive things, and how do we move forward. And some of the things that are frustrating is because later on I have to go look at the family, and I have to tell them that we don't have any results. And the things where you guys point out that, hey, you haven't done this, you don't have results, they're not helping us. We have 150 law enforcement professionals, people from all over the country, from all over the state that are experts in the field. We sit countless hours and countless time talking about all of these things you guys are bringing up. I know they're important. We want to answer questions for you. That's the whole point of a community forum, to inform you guys and let you guys know the things that are going on. With the family, I shouldn't speak on their behalf, but I see, when you see the ups and downs and the stresses, this causes the family to have to relive and go through these things. My goal is to move forward, let's get this investigation going, and keep the community informed. The family, I try to keep close at hand and keep informed at all times. My partners with the Placer County Sheriff's Office, Captain Sander and I have been doing the same thing the whole time. We have people liaisoning with them to try to make sure they're informed. That's our biggest goal. The community support is a huge factor. We need community support. We need help. We need information. We've been thinking about all the things we can't do, all the things that we're not going to accomplish, all the video we probably won't be able to review. That's not going to help us. We need to focus on the things that we can get done, the things we can accomplish, the tasks that we can make actionable. And that does come with information. When you end up on a search that you no longer have clues on where to go and what to do, then where do we keep going for the family? And how do we keep going? Because I can tell you right now, we're on day 7 of a search. Day 7 of a search with 100 people, professionally trained, and lots of civilians that I can't even tell you to count who are out there looking around. And they're being given direction by experts, at least in the state, of here's where we go, this is how we do it, these are the things that we get going and move forward. But at the end of the day, the family needs the community support. And the goal of these community meetings is to keep people updated and give them information. I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of good information to give you guys. I'm more sorry for the family that I don't have information to give them. But the nitpicking or the trying to pick apart or talk about a whole separate case, we know the roads in the area. I haven't extensive maps with tracks all over the place, with helicopter tracks and car tracks and motorcycle tracks and people walking around and all these different things. You know, while we're waiting here, we were able to confirm that those ponds on that property were searched and checked. And we're going nonstop trying to figure this stuff out. I get it, and I know you guys are concerned. I appreciate that everybody is here. I appreciate the frustration because that means that everybody cares. But we need to have these positive reactions and asking simple questions so that people can get to their questions as well. It's not to take over. I have no problem having a sidebar conversation with you afterwards. All I want to do is try to do the best I can and give you guys community support.
Thank you.
Sir, with all due respect, this forum is to focus on Kiely Rodni, and focusing on anything else is a little disrespectful. Next question, please.
Sarah liaison for the professional rescue, search and rescue team and the civilians out there. I'm just, I don't know who else is out there, but by myself, I feel like I have no direction or leadership. Is there somebody that could give us a bit of help rather than
What's your question again?
Is there a liaison person between the professional search and rescue team and the however many civilians you have out there?
Yes.
So, and how can I access that and get some questions answered in some direction?
That would be Sergeant Hack. He's not here tonight, but we'll have Lieutenant Perry speak on his behalf.
We have been having a search and rescue representative over here in the parking lot at the family's kind of incident command location. They've been assisting with the process for citizens to upload the SARTOPO app so that they can also track where they're going and where they've looked and things like that. Okay. So you should be able to find this.
That's SARTOPO. Okay. Okay.
So we've been searching, and this is by no means any sort of criticism whatsoever, but when you go and you talk to search and rescue and you have 3 hours to get on foot, the responses go anywhere. Anywhere. And it would be, and I don't know if you can divulge, I mean, it would be helpful to be like pointed in a direction or just look at the app. Well, we can do that, but at this point in the investigation, is it wide open? Are you guys thinking Kiely could be anywhere? Because, you know, if we're going to go, because there's so much terrain out there, and it's a little depressing when you're out there and seeing how much terrain. But we are out there on foot doing it. So if we, a little bit more guidance would be helpful to us that show up and spend our afternoon or morning hiking the area.
So what I'm gathering from your question is, can we provide you direction on where to go?
That would be the most helpful for you guys, or that would be the most efficient use of our time. Rather than go anywhere, because that's what they say.
Yeah. We're dealing with the search and rescue effort, okay, and so we're in a position that we're trying to manage where our professional searchers are going, and all of those with that. We can't give you direction on where to search, but that is why we stood up the SARTOPO map and why you can view where everybody else has been, and you can always make the determination, I want to go somewhere nobody's been, or I want to go somewhere someone has been, because whether someone's been on a road once or 5 times, more eyes are always better, right? So the sun can be at a different spot, it can be at a different point on a trail or a road, and have a different vantage point. So just like with our professional searchers, if you look at where we've searched, many of the areas have been gone over countless times by different methods, whether that's on foot or a motorcycle or a UTV or flown over by aircraft. So as far as us giving you a specific location, we wouldn't do that, but I would just ask that you look at the map and just make your best choice on where you want to go. And don't be discouraged from going somewhere where someone else has already been.
So thank you for the forum. I know this is really hard for everybody in the community. I literally just want to cry the whole time we're here.
But the last 48 hours, I personally have driven down to Fresno and back and stopped at every rest stop that I could, just thinking, because I had to go there for work anyways. I work in the medical industry. And I also asked people at multiple hospitals, one of which is the Children's Hospital. I asked their security as I walked in the front door, which is only one entrance into the entire hospital right now because of COVID restrictions. And he was not even aware that Kiely was missing.
Oh
so
my
I'm
God.
wondering what we can do as far as getting signage out to rest stops and also getting more information to the hospitals, because I talked to a number of hospitals. I've covered pretty much every hospital on the western side of the hemisphere, the US, in my career, and a lot of people weren't aware. A few were though, and I was super excited when they were, so hopefully we'll find more of that. But if we can get the words out to the hospitals, what if she shows up there?
Mm-hmm.
Was this in Fresno, in the Fresno area?
Yeah, the Madera Children's Hospital, the security person was not aware.
It's funny you say that because just a few days ago, the Fresno Police Department reached out to us on social media and asked if they could reshare our flyers and our media releases. And we told them by all means, please just keep spreading the word. And I think the biggest thing here is so people need to keep spreading the word. We're trying to do everything we can on social media to keep sharing and updating everybody. And we do know that many of our posts are being extensively shared. But I think you all can help us too, right? If you can help share our posts, the graphics that we made, even the flyers that the family has been pushing out. They've been doing a wonderful job on that end. You could feel free to share things, but I don't know if from a law enforcement perspective, we'd be able to reach out to hospitals and spread the word that way unless we had a significant reason to believe that she was injured and had to go to the hospital. As we mentioned, it's been extremely difficult getting cooperation from party attendees, and so it's been really hard for us to follow up leads that have not been fruitful. And so at this point, we're exploring every single possibility out there. And that's all I can say about that. But I do appreciate your concern, and I do think that one of the things the community can do is help us share as much as possible.
I did see 2 cars, same description with the same 4 first digits on the way back and down and forth too. I was surprised. I literally, like, my heart dropped. And then
A CRV.
A CRV, but the last 3 digits were not it, but the first 4 were, and I was like freaking out each time, trying to like get into the lane.
So what I'd suggest for you to do is once the Q&A portion of the meeting is over, I'm going to direct you to our detective who's actually taking tips tonight. So if you want to speak to him about that, he'd be more than happy to take that information. We'll absolutely look into it. Thank you.
My question, first I want to say thank you to everyone who made that code red alert go out yesterday. And felt some relief, and it created great conversation during Truckee Thursday outreach. My question is, for all of the online true crime sleuths and all the locals and everyone in between, what are 3 things that we can do to help you do your job?
Yeah.
I believe that question was asked earlier, so I have the same answer. If you could just help us reshare everything that we post in the Nevada County Sheriff's Office posts. We've been trying to do this as much as we can. Is one thing we really take action with is we monitor our comments heavily, and there have been a lot of those people who have been commenting on our posts, linking their videos because they want to get more exposure. While we feel that that is highly inappropriate, it is their First Amendment right, so we can't delete, block, or hide these comments, or we'll get sued. So we have to respect their First Amendment right, and what we try our best to do is respond to that comment and say, you know, this is still under investigation, we don't believe there's any validity to it, so that the next person who reads through the thread and comes across that video maybe will understand that, you know, a comment made by the Placer County Sheriff's Office that there may not be validity to this, okay, they'll probably take it with a grain of salt. So I think what I would suggest and urge the community to do is just to continue sharing what we push out, because we are the valid source for this type of information, and that's all we can do. Thank you.
What about as far as the high schoolers that won't come forward for tips? I know this sounds really weird, but what about getting them like a gift card for pictures or photos or videos?
Smaller monetary amount. Because
I mean, I don't.
$50,000.
That would be considered bribing.
That's okay.
Is that illegal?
What if we bribe them?
Like, what if a civilian?
Can the community do it?
We can't stop what the civilians are going to do.
Good answer.
I think the most important thing is, as parents and as community members, that we support these young people in coming forward with information that can be absolutely crucial. It's disheartening to hear that parents or adults are discouraging their children from coming forward. From the onset of this investigation, we've been very clear about the fact that we are not interested in the drug use or the alcohol at the party that night. We're solely interested in getting statements, video, pictures, that type of thing that can help us piece this together and bring us to more investigative steps to assist the detectives in investigating this and trying to locate Kiely.
I say, wow, right? I'm just going to take a deep breath. I want to hold space for the energy that is here tonight and for all the hard work that is going on in our community. I come to you as a support person of the family, and I'm going to reiterate what Lindsay said a couple nights ago. The teams, family team, agency team. We're working together. We have trust. The baseline is there. The family has support. They have support from this team. They have support from behavioral health. And they have support from all of you. Our community has come out strong on this one. We have been doing this since what? Saturday, but Sunday for the civilians, right? Mm-hmm. We have had over 500 humans come to the base camp, the family base camp, to come and say, what can I do? Flyering, searching. We have helped people understand what we need in terms of searching, and we have worked with the law enforcement to understand what and how we can help that. We are doing the best we can. You come to the booth, someone asks me, where should I go? I say, let's talk about your gut. Where do you want to go? What is your capacity? What can you do for yourself to maintain safety and also do what you came to do, which is help find Kiely. We are blessed in this community. Everyone in this room, every person that is out there in Truckee and beyond that have come here, we are blessed, you guys. This doesn't happen every day. Lindsay says it best, and I'm going to do my best to reiterate how Lindsay sees the world. She is positive. She is hopeful. She is strong. She is a mother. She is giving. She has a relationship with her family, including Kiely, that is real. They don't falter from baseline. They don't go off. They are here in the gut. And we as parents, we know what that is. The gut, what is real. What I want to share is that we're going to do a Country for Kiely, Love, Music, and Hope tomorrow between 1 and 4. We are going to have live music from Jenny and Jesse of Dead Winter Carpenters, Angel, who is a local favorite, Julie Brisbane, who's a fabulous 5th grade teacher and musician, and then we're going to have Brooke Shabak, who is also a fabulous local musician, and the last one I can't read because I'm 50 and I need glasses. Who's the last one? I can't see it.
Rubicon Gold.
Rubicon Gold. This is for our community. This is for moms, dads, teens, grandparents, a concerned citizen to come down and have hope and share hope and stay in the positive. Uplift the family, uplift yourself, and come down and release with us, please. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? Okay, that concludes the Q&A portion of tonight's conference, and I will point you in the direction of Detective Kevin Mansourian, tall gentleman on my right in the back. Anybody who has any information, thinks they may have some information on Kiely